Being able to offer unique services, I think, is really important. 20 plus years ago, practicing acupuncture and herbal therapy and having studied physical therapy, those things were really unique. They're not very unique today. So I think it's important to figure out like, what's unique? What can I do to set myself apart? And luckily, the veterinary field is always changing. We have all this progress. So I think there are opportunities to learn new techniques and skills that you can offer to set yourself apart.
Hi, guys, and welcome to the Housecall Vet Cafe podcast. I'm Dr. Eve Harrison. I'm a full-time integrative concierge housecall veterinarian in Los Angeles, and I help other vets to build their unique mobile practices on their terms. This podcast is for and by housecall and mobile veterinarians, so it is meant to give our community a platform to connect, to share our stories, to lift each other up, and to support each other. Most of us work solo as lone wolves, right? So for me, it's been really powerful to be able to physically hear the voices of my colleagues from all over the world and to get a chance to feel that we truly are part of a community of very real other human beings who get it. While you may be alone in that little bubble of your own vehicle when you're on the road seeing patients, I welcome you to join our community by tuning into our own podcast when you're on your way to your next house call. Whether you're a super experienced house call vet with 30 years of experience, you're a brand new prospective house call vet just looking to get started, or you're house call curious, there will be something for you in this podcast. Each episode, you will hear interviews from other mobile veterinarians just like yourself who are doing unique and innovative things, vets who are sharing their stories, their struggles and challenges, and you can also look forward to hearing valuable information and perspectives from specialists and experts outside of our micro niche. And finally, if becoming a housecall veterinarian is something that you've been thinking about exploring, or you're looking for some extra support getting your own mobile practice to feel more profitable and sustainable for you, check out the information in the show notes about my course and our above and beyond supportive private community for members only, plus our monthly group coaching sessions within the Housecall Vet Academy. You can also check out my free public Facebook group, which is also called the Housecall Vet Cafe, the same name as this podcast, and which is a warm and cozy community for mobile vets to support each other in professional and personal development, in creative entrepreneurship, and in friendship. So thank you guys for spending time with me today. Let's dive into the episode.
Hey everyone, we have a super fun guest today, and I'm really excited for this interview because we've been trying to schedule it forever and we finally got our shit together. Today we have Dr. Ronit Berdugo with us. She is a 2001 Ross University graduate and also a 2022 Housecall Vet Academy graduate. Whoop whoop. She had a house and boat call practice in the Florida Keys from 2005 to 2022 called Island Paws of Key West. She also worked part-time picking up relief shifts at the Florida Keys SPCA. She traded the mountains for the ocean in 2022 when she moved with her family to Steamboat Springs, Colorado. She currently is a relief vet for the Routt County Humane Society and has a small house call practice called Pampered Pet Home Vet. www.pamperedpethomevet.com. Lastly, she is a part of a new business called the Veterkin Society, which seeks to provide resources and savings to every vet. www.vetterkin.com. So welcome, Dr. Ronit. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you Eve, for having me. I'm excited to be here finally.
Yes, we made it. All right, so I'm going to ask you the question that I always ask. What is your favorite snack to eat in the car when you're on the way to your house calls?
Probably just coffee.
Okay,
Keeps
all
me
right.
going.
Hey, that's not what you mentioned to me before. You admitted some bad snacks before.
Variation of what you just asked me. Okay, so like my embarrassing things that I might eat in the car are Dairy Queen or chocolate bars from the gas station, and I will throw out the wrappers before I go into the house so nobody knows.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Okay, now it is finally out in the open. I was like, you have a dirty secret. I'm not letting you get away with this just because we're on the air. Okay, I can empathize with that because one of my dirty secrets is I often get gas station like ice cream bars. And oh, it's a problem. I've never really mentioned this before. publicly, but now it is known. So you're in good company. Nice job. All right, my dear. So I would love to know a little bit more of your story. Like, what is a boat call vet? Like, this is the coolest thing. Your practice has always been very intriguing to me. The practice that you had in Key West, and I'm intimately familiar with your transition to the mountains and shifting your practice in that transition. But I kind of really want to hear the whole story about how everything happened in Key West and like what an original, like, unique and crazy and cool thing that you were doing. I'm so interested to hear the whole story, how you got into it.
So let's see. I had moved to Key West and was working at a practice for 2 years and then left Key West. I moved back up to South Florida, like the Fort Lauderdale area, which is where I was from. I think I was burnt out because I was a new grad working in a really, really, really busy practice. We there's very few vets in the Keys, period, and a lot of people and a lot of animals. So I would work, 40-hour work week, Monday through Friday, maybe take call one night during the weekend, every other weekend. It was just, I could spend hours there in the middle of the night and then have to work the next day. So I left that job and I moved back up to Fort Lauderdale and I did some relief work at that time. And I took a little break. I decided to go back to school. I went to the Chi Institute and the Canine Rehabilitation Center, both in Florida, and just like studied for a year. And and moved back down to Key West with the idea of maybe opening a hospital. But before I did that, I just wanted to make house calls and see what it felt like. Was never a plan for me to be a house call veterinarian for over 20 years. It just kind of happened. So I was planning a big wedding when I moved back down, and I was a new grad with these new skills and, there was an article about me in the paper and what I was offering, and I think because I had already been working in the Keys for a couple of years, I had, established a reputation and I knew people. My practice just took off. I literally hit the ground running. There was Eve did not have her house call training then. All I had was the green manual was a 3-ring binder, I forget what it was called, I read it, and I started this house call practice temporarily, and, it morphed into a boat call practice as well. I was very busy, also because a lot of people don't have cars. That's a big thing down there. A lot of people ride bikes or have mopeds or motorcycles. Many people live on houseboats or sailboats. Sometimes I even made boat calls, like if someone was just coming through and they needed a health certificate because they were on their way down to Central America or the Bahamas. It was very exciting, always something new. The people are very eccentric and eclectic. So, um, yeah, I really loved what I did.
So amazing. I've been to Key West when I was a kid, and I remember it being an absolutely magical place. Like personalities for sure, like island life, but like, I don't know. I mean, there's something really special about it. I'm so curious to know about these boat calls. Like, do people have animals on the boat? Like, I know historically people would have cats on the ships to keep the rats away or whatever. Like, is that how and why people have cats on their boats now? Or is just people
They have
travel with cats and they don't get motion sick or anything?
Yeah, no, that was never mentioned to me that they got motion sickness. Um, People live with cats on their boat. They definitely live with small dogs. I had the opportunity to make house calls to I guess I can't say who, but I'll say the name of the yacht. At the time, it was the largest privately owned yacht in the world, and they would helicopter me out to the yacht as it passed through the Gulf of Mexico for a little dachshund. I went
Oh my
by
god.
helicopter with the staff to go see this little dachshund on and issue health certificates. So a lot of the time on the boats, it's health certificates for people passing through or people that live in the Keys if they have you know, a pet. It's the same thing. It might be skin, ears, vaccines, abdominal, GI issues, really anything you would see a pet in a home for. But there's some logistics, with getting on and off a boat and taking off your shoes and making sure you don't drop anything into the water. I did have my car towed once going to someone's boat.
Why was it towed? It was just not in the parked in the wrong place, or
Told me I could park in the parking lot. It was a little French bulldog puppy. And we had a great appointment, and they told me where to park, and then my car was towed.
oh.
I live nearby, so it wasn't a big deal. But that house call cost me.
Oh my god. That yeah, that's I mean, getting a car towed is like hundreds of dollars. It's like, hmm. Damn. It's so, so interesting. I think it's also just like fascinating since you said I hadn't even thought about it, but you've been a house call vet for over 20 years. That is magnificent. And you have been a house call vet in a variety of contexts now and different demographics and different locations. And it's just so interesting your perspective and your experience and how it just developed so organically. I'm very curious if you wouldn't mind sharing what is practicing in Colorado with your small house call practice like compared to how it was in the Keys?
Well, it's certainly not as exciting. It's the temperature makes it I'll be honest, when I left the Keys, part of the reason why I was so hot, like, I was so tired of being hot, I was tired of hearing myself complaining about how hot I was, and as you can imagine, and your listeners, like, what it's like carrying your stuff in and out of someone's house, and if you have to park a couple blocks away, and if you forget something in your car, and then when you're practicing somewhere hot, like, all the hair sticks to you and their skin stinks and they have, stinky otitis. And I think it kind of just it got to be hard. I was doing it over 20 years and I think I got a little tired of all that. So in a way it's easier where I live now. We don't really see because of the climate and the altitude, the flea allergy, dermatitis, and yeast otitis, and pododermatitis, and all these stinky, sticky skin conditions. And parking is easier where I live. The weather here makes it tricky in the winter with the snow. So I did get stuck in a snowbank my first winter here. It's easier also, I guess, but not good. But I have definitely way fewer clients here than I ever had in Key West. And I don't think I would ever be able to recreate the same kind of practice here because there are so many vets where I live and house call vets as well. And also I offered services that were very unique where I lived, and here the things that made me unique there are not unique here.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I am wanting to actually jump to a question that I was going to ask a little bit later about if you had any advice or thoughts for people who are either starting a house call practice or maybe moving and starting over again. And I know that you had some really unique advice about uniqueness. And since we're kind of on this subject, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that and any other thoughts, ideas, wisdoms you might like to share with other vets who may be going through similar things that as to what you've experienced.
Well, Eve, I know that you've made the recommendation many times about working part time in a practice or being a relief vet. I definitely recommend that as well. So I worked part time, like one day a week for a few hours at the SPCA in Key West when I lived there. And where I live now, I'm actually working 3 days a week. So that definitely helps establishing yourself in the community. That way, you're able to build trust around your name. That's really important, especially when you're going into someone's home. And then being able to offer unique services, I think, is really important. 20 plus years ago, practicing acupuncture and herbal therapy and having studied physical therapy, those things were really unique. They're not very unique today. So I think it's important to figure out like what's unique, what can I do to set myself apart. And luckily, the veterinary field is always changing. We have all this progress. So I think there are opportunities to learn uh, new techniques and skills that you can offer to set yourself apart. None are really coming to mind.
Oh my gosh.
Um, as more and more vets are studying alternative medicine, and home euthanasia is much more mainstream now too. Definitely, health certificates. I feel like more and more traditional vets and practices are saying no to health certificates, so I think that's something important if you don't hate doing them.
That's amazing. That's such good advice. I hate doing them personally, but you have a really excellent point about finding your niche, micro niche, super micro niche. Like house call practice is a micro niche itself. And then we need to niche down even further. And
Mhm.
you're so wise beyond your years. Like 20 years ago that you were doing what's now like the in popular thing today. I don't know why my phone is ringing and dinging. It's like coming through my computer. Sorry about that. But I mean, you were really ahead of the curve, like substantially. Like I had not even I was contemplating becoming a vet at that point, but so amazing. And on an island, no less, that you were able to like get the trust of people who may never have heard of such a thing. You know what I mean? It's not like a metropolitan area. It's not an urban area per se. I mean, it's sort of urban, but island demographics are really interesting and unique. I'm so in agreement with you about find your uniqueness, find ways that set yourself apart. It's an intrinsically excellent marketing technique to just simply be different from what anyone else is offering. It's just so smart and so true. I agree with that 100%. Someone is texting me like a lunatic. Stop texting me. I'm podcasting. But anyway, I love this wisdom and I love the perspective that you carry from the various iterations of your practice that you've experienced. And it's so interesting about the weather, too. You don't often get this direct comparison between island house call practice and mountain house call practice, between tropical and full on winter where you get stuck in snowbanks. So to see how that really has influenced your practice in both places really speaks to something that I find very interesting, which is that house call vets are outdoors. We are really linked and connected to our environment, to nature, to the seasons. And that is so unique from brick and mortar practice. It's unique from most any other thing. Ambulatory practice essentially is what we're doing. We're out and about in the home sometimes, but otherwise out there. And I think that's something really, really special about house call practice and what creates unique challenges depending on exactly where you are. Yeah, so I just like love what you had to share about that. I found it very interesting and relevant.
Hey everyone, Dr. Eve Harrison here. Whether you are a solo mobile vet feeling the weight of isolation, or whether you're struggling with boundaries or issues with your current client base, or if you're in the early stages of starting your house call practice and you're struggling with analysis paralysis and decision fatigue, you're trying to get enough patients into your practice to be able to start paying your bills, or you're someone dreaming of breaking free from the corporate life or your clinic life, but you're afraid to make the leap. Well, if you're any of those things, I totally see you. I know what it's like to eat lunch in your car while call catching up on charts, to question if you're charging enough, to wonder if you can really build a sustainable mobile practice without burning out, and even know what it's like to wonder if the house call practice that you've already built with your blood, sweat, and tears is something that you can even keep going with, given how burnt out you might already be. But I also know that it's possible to thrive beyond your wildest dreams as a house call vet. And I know this because I've done it. And that is why I'm so excited to announce that registration is finally open for
Our 5th annual House Call and Mobile Vet Virtual Conference, February 7th and 8th, 2026.
This is not just another CE event. This is your first step towards transformation. We're tackling the real challenges of mobile practice, from handling red flag clients who believe that as a house call vet, you should be available 24/7. More importantly, we're going to be sharing proven solutions that help you work less while earning more, that help you work in a way that reflects your true worth, and that helps you build a practice that fits your life. Whether you're an experienced mobile vet looking to optimize your practice or just starting to explore this path, you'll leave this conference with concrete strategies that you can implement immediately to increase both your income and your time freedom. The conference is virtual. It's
February 7th and 8th, 2026.
And you can join from the coziness of your own couch while sipping hot chocolate and ordering your favorite Thai food while you're hand-fed gems of wisdom for your house call practice and while you celebrate with your tribe. Here's what our veteran house call and mobile vet virtual conference attendees had to say. Dr. B said, day one of the conference, and it was fantastic. Speakers discussing the nitty-gritty subjects of medicine, the down and dirty ways to treat cats who may not receive treatment otherwise, and meeting other vets willing to take back the profession. I think I have found my tribe. I think it is truly the most excited I have been at a vet conference in a long time. Thank you, Dr. Eve, for all the time and energy you put into this. I cannot wait until tomorrow. So if you're feeling excited, inspired, and ready to sign up, don't wait too long. Head to my Instagram, the House Call Vet Academy, or the link in the show notes to secure your spot. I'm Dr. Eve Harrison, and I can't wait to show you just how amazing mobile practice can be with the right support and community behind you, and to celebrate with those of you who already know exactly how life-giving this path can be. Now back to our show.
I know that you are passionate about alternative care, about acupuncture. You've been doing rehab for 20 years. Is this something that you're passionate about in your own life as well?
I am, yes. I do a lot of yoga practice and meditate and have always had a relationship with an acupuncturist. I love massage. I studied Reiki in animals as well. I don't really talk about it with owners, but I think I'm doing Reiki when I'm placing needles and doing Tuina. Yeah, those are all interests of mine in people as well.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love hearing that you're kind of practicing what you preach. You subscribe to that same style of care for yourself. And, I just had a flashback as you mentioned the yoga. I was like, oh, when you were at the very first house call vet retreat in San Diego, what was it, 2021 or 2022? I can't remember. It might have been 2021. We did yoga on the beach, and I remember you being there on the beach and being really into it. And I just had like this beautiful flashback. So that made me happy.
That was very nice because Eve is a yoga instructor as well.
I am. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it's an interesting part of my identity that I kind of like the Reiki. I don't mention it necessarily all the time or tell people what I'm doing, but I'm using meditation techniques or principles from yoga in pretty much everything I do.
Mhm.
So I really relate to how you use the Reiki and how you said that with my own kind of yoga stuff and even a little bit of Reiki too. Like I have some actual Reiki certification that I don't talk about, but I'm using it. So I love how you said that. That's amazing. I want to shift a little bit. You have a very entrepreneurial spirit. You've brought to life a number of businesses in the last few years, but right now you are working on the Vetterkin Society. I would love to hear all about that. I would love to hear what all it's about. Tell everyone how it can help them. Let's hear all the things about the Vetterkin Society.
Thank you, Eve.
Mhm.
So, the Veterkin Society was the brainchild of a classmate of mine from Ross 2001, Eliane Mimoun, who had a practice in Baltimore, Maryland, that when she sold just a few years ago, she was in the situation of, what do I do now? How will I continue to care for my pets, my friends' pets, my family's pets? And there were a lot of them. And of course, she didn't want to have to bring them to an animal hospital. She wanted to do everything from home herself. And then she found, because she was no longer a business, that she couldn't qualify for the discounts that she was used to qualifying for. So she had this idea, why don't I start this membership based buying club where vets in these situations can qualify for these discounts, practicing autonomously and independently, and not have to rely on other vets. Many people have friends that they can, colleagues that they can rely on for discounts, but maybe it's uncomfortable or maybe it's inconsistent. And initially, she just thought it was retired practice owners like her that could benefit. But then she realized, no, it's relief vets. It's vets that work in industry. So the pet foods and the laboratories, vets that work for the USDA and for the rest of the US government, vets in academia, vets on maternity leave, retired vets. What do you do when you need vaccines and you don't want to buy a whole tray? Or how do you qualify for this discount pet food if you're not part of a clinic? So, with a group, and as our group grows, we'll be able to offer even better benefits and discounts. But as a group, we're able to get wholesale pricing on my vet store. So, all your pet needs, medication, supplements, supplies, pet feeding discounts. So, Hills, Royal Canin, and Blue Buffalo, and it ships direct to your door as a clinic discount, even though you're not a clinic. We're able to provide that because we're the clinic, we're the virtual animal hospital. Um, what else? We have equipment rentals. So we have a cryo probe, which you may be familiar with. Cryo IQ is the brand that we have. We have the handheld butterfly ultrasound. So you can rent equipment for us to practice and work on your pets at home as needed. We'll have more equipment in the future. Oh, laboratory. So we have wholesale pricing with Antec and soon VDI. And some other ideas that we have that we're working on are discounts on CE and hopefully discounts for emergency hospitals. So typically, by law, hospitals are able to give their employees 20% off. And emergency hospitals may do that for veterinarians as well as a professional courtesy. So our goal is to go beyond that. So we are negotiating discounts that are better than that. And we found with the math that easily the membership quickly pays for itself.
That's fantastic. I had no idea you were doing like equipment rental and, discounts on CE and things like, oh my God. Okay. This is fantastic and so relevant to us house call vets. So I'm really excited to hear about all of this and the depth of it and the story behind it. And yeah, just really, really cool. So yeah, how do people find out about this? If people want to be a part of it?
We do have a Facebook group and page under the Veterkin Society. We're on Instagram. We have a very comprehensive website that explains everything in detail. Veterkin.com, VETERKIN.com. And it's a play on words, veterinary kinship, because it's vets helping vets and their friends and family. And that's really our goal, to be there for all vets, not just big practices. And especially, as there's this corporate takeover, things are becoming more and more expensive for veterinarians. And we just, we want vets to be able to continue to care for their pets and not have to bring them to animal hospitals. And who knows what they may or may not pay for that care. So, yeah, we're doing this and it's been great so far.
Amazing. Yeah, it's really brilliant. Yeah, I've been kind of like admiring from the wings, but not really knowing all the details of it. And it sounds fantastic. I'm so glad that you've been able to tell our listeners about this. This is fantastic. I'm kind of like interested just to see if there's anything else that you'd like to share with folks, either from your perspective as a house call vet or from your involvement with Vetterkin, or just anything that you want to share with the veterinary community that feels important for you to say. I would just love to hear what's on your mind here.
Well, I found that the House Call Vet Academy training was invaluable. It was really outside of my scope of anything that I had studied or learned or practiced, and it was really a great resource. So I definitely recommend that because I know I made things a lot harder for myself than I could have had I had that training first. So I do recommend that. I also want to mention that the Veterkin Society can, again, benefit friends, family. It can be extended to vet technicians as well, as long as they have a veterinarian ordering on their behalf. And we need that client patient pet relationship. We have an online portal where all the records are stored and kept neatly. So vets are notorious for being late on vaccines and not having soaps. And so we help you get all that figured out. And that's really it. I just wanted to reiterate, Eve, what you always say about getting yourself out there and forming a relationship somehow with the community, being creative, and also using that same creativity to think about what you can do as a house call veterinarian that sets you apart. And you're very unique, Eve.
Oh,
You
thank
look easy.
you as well are a rare bird in the best possible way. I love it. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. Before we close up the episode, I'd love to ask, and you may have already answered it, but no, I don't think you did actually. What is your favorite beverage? What would you like to order while we are here in the House Call Vet Cafe?
Alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
Oh, let's do one of each.
So, I love a cappuccino, no sugar in my coffee, and my drink of choice lately has been a spicy Paloma with mezcal. Yeah, like
Ooh, ooh, I love it. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I have like kind of more a recently acquired taste for mezcal, but now I'm like really into it too. So I hear that. That sounds delicious. Yeah. All right, my dear. I'm so proud of you and everything that you're doing. And it's been so nice to be able to catch up with you. And I can't wait for our next chat. And I'll catch you on the interwebs or wherever. Maybe I'll see you. I'll see you at the next Telluride Festival, Mushroom Telluride Festival in Colorado.
great. Aw, good to see you, Eve. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the House Call Vet Cafe. If you enjoyed this episode, then hit the subscribe or follow button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never have to miss an episode. This podcast is made specifically for you, so don't be shy if you'd like to reach out and let me know your thoughts on this episode. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as the House Call Vet Academy, where I also share more valuable content. If you're interested in learning more about consulting for house call vets or the House Call Vet Academy online course and community, please click on the link in the show notes. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I can't wait for you to join us for our next episode of the House Call Vet Cafe.